Hey, what's up? So this is something I wanted to create, and there's gonna be more videos after this. So these top 10 similes is not gonna be, this is not gonna be the only video, but yeah, a video like this I want to make because like I just find so many lines in either rap, literature, or whatever interesting, and so there's some lines that I like to pinpoint and put highlight on. I found pretty amazing. I'm gonna be doing this for all literary devices I covered in my What is Lyricism video. And um, that means I'll be making like top 10 metaphor videos, top 10, wordplay videos. And I also am going to make my What is Rhyme analysis video. So I'll also be covering things like multis, stuff like that. So yeah, this is going to be the first video. What top 10 similes. There's going to be more top 10 simile videos, but just as a starter and to be the first one, I decided to go with similes that some of you probably have already came across. And so yeah, let's get right into it. So the first one is Jay-Z's Can I Live. Again, Cream, let's do this. It gets tedious, so I keep one eye open like CBS. You see me stressed, right? So this simile is self-explanatory. This is probably one of the Jay-Z's, one of his most famous lines, especially if you're a Jay-Z fan. I consider myself a Jay-Z fan. And if you're a Jay-Z fan, you probably know this bar very well. This is kind of one of his most, popular bars among fans and people who really like Jay-Z in that aspect. And in that bag of his where he's like, getting very lyrical and stuff. And yeah, there's nothing else really much to say except the fact that, very classic bar. Why not open like CBS, a little double entendre there. So yeah, I very much like this line. In fact, when I think about similes and rap, this line kind of comes up. So definitely, this is something I found needed to be on this list. So number 9, Common, Resurrection. If poetry was pussy, I'd be sunshine, cause I deliver like the sun times. Confined in one's minds on dumb rhymes I combine. So I plan on making a video sometime down the future on Common and the that era of Common in 1994 with Resurrection, because I find him to be the arguably the most lyrical person next to another certain rapper who I also cover called Razkaz. But besides that rapper Razkaz, I would say Common is probably the most lyrical person from the 90s. I wouldn't say, I don't know if the most lyrical person, but I would say for a certain period, especially like if you were to limit hip hop from the beginning to 94, you could argue that Common probably had the most lyrical album up to that date. The lyricism Common displays in that album and in this song is lyricism that you wouldn't see until the 2000s. And I say that because even though you did see some lyricism like that, you saw, this, like, wordplay that, this, that, and the third. Not to make it seem like rappers, like, around Common's era were so basic, because they weren't. There were multis, internals, so on and so forth. But Common's lyricism is so intricate, is that it's something you wouldn't see until you saw the 2000 elite lyricists, like the L Size, the Royce the 59s, and so on. And that's what Common showed in 1994. Like, 6 years removed from, 6 years before, the turn of the millennium. So yeah, want to put this in there. Had to put Common in here. So yeah, number 8, Lupe Fiasco, Sun God, Sam, and California Drug Deals on his album Drogas Wave. And the line goes, wild like Pac, using both hands, and his head is the O. So this is another person who I plan on doing a whole video about down the line. But Lupe Fiasco, I don't really talk or really ever say who I believe is the greatest lyricist or anything. But I would say the greatest lyricist he's undoubtedly, Lupe Fiasco is my choice. Yeah, Lupe Fiasco is probably my choice for greatest lyricist ever in rap. Um, my reason for saying that is because just look at his pen. And I don't mean just look at his pen like from a view of look at Lupe and how lyrical he is and how he can do all these multis. And for some hip hop heads, they'll say and like bring up songs like Mural. And even though it is amazing, it is probably the best display of lyricism probably there is in rap. But that's not my viewpoint on why he's the greatest lyricist. My viewpoint on how Lupe is the greatest lyricist comes from the fact that his lyricism has an amazing way. Like I said, I'll make a whole video about this, but to be brief, Lupe has a unique style of lyricism that no other so-called elite lyricist that we put in that category, like the Black Thoughts or the Royces, he has a unique way of his lyricism, of despite being um, being more, I guess you can say, um, I mean, a bit convoluted depending on you ask, but obviously being much more complex, being much more niche, meaning like the references Lupe uses. Like, for example, I'll take a Black Thought first. Black Thought, as great as he is lyrically, his references, I mean, I won't say his references are kind of very general and kind of, regular, but like his references and how and what he does for metaphors and lyricism to reference. I mean, some can be a little niche, but they fall into the pop culture or type of things that everyone will know and get. And that's not to say that because Lupe references more niche things that makes him better, but it's more the fact that how he words things, how he says things, how he plays on the words, how he plays on the aspect of these references. Um, it makes his stuff more complex. It adds more, a little bit, I wouldn't say layering, but it just makes his stuff much more harder to get. And again, that doesn't mean he's a better lyricist, but when it comes to creativity and cleverness, he has more originality and he's more clever in how he delivers a bar and how he'll deliver a line than say Black Thought. And I know I sound kind of silly saying that because I just hearing myself talk right now, I didn't really, provide a good reasoning. I guess I probably confused some people who are listening. But basically, look at it like this in the simile. While like Pac using both hands in his head is a O. The references to this Pac picture where you see Pac having two his hands both making the west side sign up and his head, and if you have a little bit of imagination, it comes out to the wow word. And that's what I'm talking about. For most rappers, even rappers like Black Thought or even, the Royces, as good as they are lyrically, they would mostly come up with a usual Pac reference, like, people coming up with like I'm like Pac, and they'll say like a song he did, like, Hail Mary, like Machiavelli, Machiavelli Pac, or something of the sorts, or talk about how they shot at very typical. Not that it's bad, but very. I mean, I want. It's hard to say, but the point is, it's just very usual type of referencing to Pac. This is very original. Not only is this original, this is something you don't see no other rapper doing. It's like something only Lupe does. But like I said, I'll go more into detail on another video on why Lupe is the greatest lyricist. And it's like I said, it's not just because of Mural or stuff like that. It's because of other factors I put into why he's the greatest. So yeah, let's proceed to the other ones. Number 7, Pusha T, Grindin'. This one is one that probably you should know and probably have heard because of how popular the song Grindin' is. Legend in 2 games like I'm Pee Wee Kirkland. I mean, I don't think I need a good elaborate explanation. I mean, I think this is a classic line, a very classic hip hop line. Very, the way Pusha delivered it and just like, how he delivered it in the verse, it makes it very memorable. I mean, like I said, it's similar to the CBS line with Jay, where when I think of hip hop lines, when I think of hip hop similes, I think of this Pusha line right here. This is a line that's it's very good. It's a nice simile that also leads to a nice little entendre. I mean, if you don't know who Pee Wee Kirkland is, he was a street ball legend who, did drug deals, drug dealing stuff. So Very dope line. Self-explanatory why it's on here. And so yeah. Number six. Yeah, I think this is number six. Big Daddy Kane, The Symphony. This is another classic line. I feel like this is another, again, probably the third one on this list where it's like a very classic hip hop line. So put a quarter in your ass because you played yourself like a game in the arcade by Big Daddy Kane. Song The Symphony. Uh, Nothing else really to be said here. Very classic line. I mean, when Big Daddy Kane recorded this, I think it was 1987. So yeah, like 1987. When they were in like him, Cool G Rap, were all in the Juice Crew. So yeah, this is a very classic line and a very ahead of its time type of line where like given the type of rapping and skill that was in the 80s. It really shows how Big Daddy Kane was very, he was very ahead of his time in the lyrical department. You know what I mean? So, very classic line. Nothing else to be said except that, Big Daddy Kane, he's cold, He was a cold person back in the day. But yeah. So number 5, I have Lil Wayne, 6', 7'. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Now, this line is kind of different from the others. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not really a fan of the line. I don't really like it. I'm a Lil Wayne fan, but I don't really think the line's that good. But I feel like I had to put it on here just because of how popular it is, and not how popular it is, how impactful it is. Because I think I've seen many rappers even say it. Like it's a if how can I put it? It's kind of like a staple in hip hop. When it comes to classic similes or just classic bars or punchlines, this line right here is kind of a staple in hip hop. Real G's moving silence lasagna. You love it, you hate it. Some people, obviously, people who don't like Wayne hate it. People who are very critical on certain lines being kind of dumb and this and that, and elitists, especially hip hop elitists, are gonna hate it. If you're a Wayne fan, you're gonna love it. Now, if you're someone like me who's a Wayne fan, a Wayne fan who is not so biased or loves everything Wayne does, you're kind of like me, where it's like, it's fan of Wayne, but nah, this ain't it. But yeah, the line is very popular. It's very much a staple, one of the most popular simile bars you can find in rap, and even though it's not up to par compared to the last similes or even the similes I have under it, you can't deny its impact and its popularity. It's something that gets people talking about whether it was a good bar or not. So I had to put it on here. So number 4. So this ain't really a bar from a rapper. This is from a poet. Like I said, this list is gonna have metaphors and similes and stuff from not just rappers but also from poets, so on and so forth. So I have Maya Angelou, Still I Rise, cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. This is I think it's a pretty classic line. It comes from a classic poem, and Still I Rise. Maya Angelou and Still I Rise as a poem has a lot of very great similes and stuff. Very good, even some very good lyrical, entendre type stuff and play on words. And so yeah, I think this is a very dope line. If you also factor in other things like, when you look at this line, you can kind of take into other factors too, other historical factors, of what this poem is. Given Maya Angelou as like a black woman and stuff. So yeah, like there's lots to take out of the line, and not only that line, but the poem, of course. So yeah, just had to put this on here. All right, number 3, J-Rock, Money Trees. Got them drums and I got them bands just like a parade bitch. I know this line really isn't. The line really isn't that much creatively as good as like the Big Daddy Kane, as like Jay, as like Lupe's, or Pusha T's. But the reason why I like this line, I think, is because, I think the line really does. I don't know. It's just the way the line. Okay, hear me out. I think the line on why I like it so much, I think it's just the way J Rock said. I mean, like I love Money Trains as a song. That's my favorite song off of Good Kid, Mad City, and J Rock he killed it. And I don't know, I just really like this line. I really can't just sit here and give a reason. That's the thing. I really like all I can think about is like I really like this line. Like when I think of Money Trees, uh, outside of Yabish, I think of this line. So yeah, I don't know. Kind of lost my reasoning for this. I don't know. So yeah, I'll just proceed. That's it. That's it. I just like it. I just like it really a lot. So the next one is number 2, Nipsey Hussle, Face the World. Niggas got this shit twisted like Jean Michael Basquiat. Destroyed his pictures. Self-inflicted homicide. Don't pull the trigger. Now, this I can actually give a good reason for. Besides the fact that I just like it. It's a strong simile. You know, and in the context of the song, given, you know, the song's called Face the World, it's a very inspirational Nipsey Hussle song to inspire you as a listener, you know, do your thing and, you know, not have any, you know, insecurities about you and destroy yourself. And that's why I like it. I mean, like, I think I read, I'm not really checking right now, but I think I did read something when I was researching Basquiat about a year or so ago. And I think, like, you know, he did do that the whole, you know, destroying himself, homicide. And like I said, I think it's a very good line, line in the context of the song. It ties in a nice, not only that, a nice, good, it's similar to Jay-Z's CBS line. It's a very good finishing line to a very good song. That's one of my favorite aspects of rap when rappers, you know, get in that bag is when they deliver a strong ass bar like this one at the ending of the song. And not only is it just a bar that is strong, it's not random. It very much fits the context, and so that's why I like it. You know. So yeah, I think this, you know, this line pretty much deserves to be number 2. Very strong simile, very powerful one. And, you know, a very powerful simile that is part of a very powerful song. All right, so for number 1, I had to go with another poet, and it's a man who, you know, one of the greatest writers in American history, Langston Hughes, Dream Deferred. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? As I said, I'm including poets, and I had to include Langston in this one. You know, this poem, classic in American literature, and of course, classic in African American literature. And the aspect of writing lyrics and writing similes, you can't not add. You cannot leave out this simile. Very good one. So many people have really used this. Common, Tupac, you know, Tupac, he used this line, and If My Homies, Common used this, I think in some song on Resurrection. There's been a play based off it. So obviously this simile is not just a cool simile. This is a simile that has really impacted, you know, art in this country, in both, like, a play came from it. Other poets obviously have taken from this line. Rappers have taken from this line. So, you know, this is a very impactful simile, very powerful. One of the most, probably the most, a staple. It's similar to what I said about the lasagna thing. It's a staple. Except it's not just a staple in poetry. It's a staple pretty much in, I guess you can say, literary or any form of using literary devices. It's just one of the most famous similes there is. And so, yeah, I had to put this here at number 1. And so, yeah, that's it. Like I said, this won't be the last video. I'll make another one. This is just like, you know, a little beginning type of list. Next one, I don't know. I might do a metaphor top 10 part 1. But, yeah, thanks for tuning in, y'all. I'll catch y'all later.